this weekend, huh? It is very clear that Georgia loves winners, which is why Georgia loves President Donald J. Trump. I'm standing backstage over here and I listened to Peter. He said, I'm still looking to find one person who supports the idea, the absurd idea of putting men in women's sports. Well, Peter, I've got two for you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Man, it's crazy to be on this stage. To be very clear, this is never where I saw myself, never a position I imagined myself in. I had no intention of being here. I was in dental school after college, hoping to become an endodontist, but by God's will and His favor, here we are. All for merely saying men and women are different. Just 2 years ago, I was a college student studying and competing at the University of Kentucky. I very proudly finished my career as a 12-time NCAA All-American, a 5-time SEC champion, actually the SEC record holder in the 200 butterfly, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time, a two-time Olympic trial qualifier, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, SEC Community Service Leader of the Year. The list goes on, but again, just to reiterate, it really is a lifelong journey to be able to compete and ultimately succeed at the highest level. I could share my personal testimony of the events that led me to be here. I could tell you about how me and my teammates were robbed of a fair shot of winning a national championship. I could share the grotesque details of what it was like being forced to undress inches away from a 6'4" man who watched us strip down to nothing while he did the same, exposing his fully intact, naked male body. There are no words to describe the violation and the betrayal, the humiliation that we felt. Let me be clear, no one asked for our consent. We did not give our consent to be exposed and exploited to a naked man. This used to rightfully be labeled as sexual harassment. I could share how our First Amendment rights were violated at the institutional level and how our voices were stifled by the very adults whose job it was. Their most basic duty was to protect us. I could share all of that and more, but I'm not here to speak about me or even my own personal, on my own personal behalf. I'm here to speak on behalf of common sense, everyday Americans and Georgians who have had enough. What we experience and what girls around the country continue to face is antithetical to the progress Title IX made for women and girls over the past 52 years. Title IX is, of course, the federal civil rights law that at one point prevented sex-based discrimination for any educational program that receives federal funding. Title IX is no more under the Biden-Harris administration. What happened to us at that national championships, the unfair competition, the locker room scene, how our voices as women were effectively muzzled is what Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and the rest of the Democratic Party leadership calls progress. Let that sink in. Stripping women of our rights to oppose or even question out loud a naked man, fully intact with male genitalia, undressing inches away from where we were simultaneously unclothed is considered progress to Kamala Harris. I was thrilled to see President Trump in his Women's Town Hall with Harris Faulkner just last week declare that he would use his executive power as president to outright ban men from competing in women's sports. That is what leadership and moral clarity looks like. Bottom line is this shouldn't be a political issue. Your daughter's safety, your daughter's opportunities to achieve and succeed, it shouldn't be a political or controversial statement to say your daughters deserve privacy in areas of undressing. Yet unfortunately it is. We have an entire political party, at least in terms of elected representation, who believe you can change your sex as often as you change your socks. Recently in the US House, the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act was introduced, and it fell entirely on party lines, meaning 219 Republicans voted in favor of protecting women and girls in sports, and all 203, every single last one of them, mothers and fathers of their own young daughters, all 203 Democrats voted in opposition of protecting women and girls in sports. But how can this be? The Democratic Party, they're the ones who claim to be of and for women. They pride themselves on it. My question to Democratic leadership is, how in the world can you claim to defend what you can't even define? They say they are for women's rights. When they say that, understand they're talking about the women's ability to dismember and abort a developing child in the womb. They use phrases like reproductive rights and healthcare freedom. Yeah, but where was that healthcare freedom during COVID? They didn't believe in bodily autonomy when it came to injecting yourself with an experimental, ineffective vaccine that has zero credibility. They were the tyrants who fired healthcare workers, school teachers, US military members for not complying with their autocratic mandates. They don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in free expression. That's been made very clear by the compelled speech portion of Title IX. The government now gets to decide what is hate speech and what is misinformation. They don't believe in school choice. They don't believe in parental rights or the safeguarding of children. They don't believe in freedom, unless it is the freedom to murder a baby or the freedom to chemically or surgically castrate children. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she said it best in her State of the Union address response. She says the dividing line in America is no longer right versus left, red versus blue, Republican versus Democrat. The choice we have in 2 weeks is normal versus crazy. And the funniest part about it is they know that. The Democrats know that. Did you see Kamala's interview, of course, with Bret Baier, and even just yesterday with Hallie Jackson? When Kamala was asked and pressed about her transgender policy, she couldn't say what it entails. Well, let me answer for you, because I know. What it entails is you, me, all taxpayers, all tax-paying Americans, we will pay for surgeries of people in prison who are trans, identify as trans, as illegals who are seeking these transgender surgeries. I hear people saying that they will be voting for Kamala Harris because she is a woman. Well, guess what? I am voting for Donald Trump because I am a woman. Folks, we know we're winning. The left knows it, Barack Obama knows it, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz know it. We need to win back the White House, we need to win back the Senate, we need common sense, we need sanity, we need stability, we need strength, we need to fight, and we all need Jesus and His grace. In just 2 weeks' time, we will all make America great again. Thank you, guys.